Good morning and welcome to the Social Show, your one-stop shop for all things CSI and CSR. My name is Virtualana and you are back. I'm back at it, talking about all things that are going to eventually change our country, eventually make sure that we walk around safely in our streets. It's so scary right now. Eventually, we alleviate poverty. Eventually. And that's exactly the premise of the show, if you didn't know. But anyway, as usual, I start off the day with the news, then we can get into the topic for the day. Clicks is partnering with the Project Dignity on its Girls on the Go campaign to assist the sponsorship of thousands of reusable sanitary packs being donated to disadvantaged communities across the country every 2 months. Jeremiah Nyikana, Clicks Helping Hand Trust Manager, says the decision to partner with Project Dignity was prompted by the organization's success in reducing school absenteeism rates. With access to proper sanitary wear, young women don't have to miss out during their menstrual cycle, as it has been happening previously. Project Dignity forms the non-profit extension of Subs, Pants and Pads, an organization founded by Sue Barnes, which seeks to improve the lives of school-going girls by donating sponsored packs of reusable, eco-friendly sanitary pads and accompanying panties. The organization was established after Barnes learned about the negative educational impact a lack of sanitary products is having on thousands of school children. Developed, designed, and manufactured by Barnes, the Subs pads are made of 5 layers of hydrophobic fabric, which makes them absorbent to prevent leakage, together with 100% cotton panties, and they are patented and have a SABS absorbency approval. Every 2 months, Clicks purchases 2,000 Subs pants and pads packs, which it donates to worthwhile recipients. And for March 2017, Clicks worked with Project Dignity to distribute 1,000 of these packs to schoolgirls in 6 schools based in Molweni, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Girls on Go campaign is set to continue for a further 3 years. In other news, builders in Supersport recently unveiled a newly constructed multi-purpose sports field in Tekwana Primary School, Nelspruit. The campaign targets schools that are excelling in sports without adequate sporting facilities. Since 2015, builders in Supersport have constructed 6 sports fields in various schools across South Africa. Tekwane Primary School was the first in 2017 to receive the sports field. To mark the celebration of the new sports field, 10 schools participated in the Builders Soccer Tournament, and the tournament aims to bring schools and communities together to benefit from the new facilities and contribute to soccer development, as well as offer children a platform to showcase their talents. This tournament was created to allow schools around the community an opportunity to experience the new facilities as well as contribute to the love of soccer. In doing so, they have created a sustainable league that continues to include under 10 and under 12 age groups. It was also humbling, they says, Andre Stein has said, to see the success it has been to watch the children united by sport. Participating schools also received physical education training from Active Education coaches who paid a weekly visit to each school on an ongoing basis. And Active Education holds a partnership agreement with the Department of Basic Education, which allows them to access the schools and the local district office. And lastly, in our news, this World Hypertension Day, which just passed on the 17th of May, Life Healthcare, one of South Africa's leading hospital groups, is encouraging you to get tested and know your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood glucose numbers in order to prevent and control a rising pressure. Hypertension, also known as high blood pressure, is very much common but often undiagnosed condition. If left undetected, your blood vessels and heart may undergo substantial damage, resulting in congestive heart failure, stroke, kidney disease, and vision loss. While there may not be any symptoms, that does not mean there's no cause for concern, says Dr. Vinod Thomas, cardiologist and cardiac practitioner at Life Vincent Pallotti Hospital in Cape Town. And if you're not consistent in ensuring that your blood pressure is under control, you put yourself at risk of life-threatening conditions. Blood pressure is determined by both by the amount of blood your heart pumps and the amount of resistance to blood flow in your arteries. The more blood your heart pumps, the narrower your arteries, the higher your blood pressure. With 6.3 million people living with high blood pressure, South Africa has one of the highest rates of hypertension worldwide. worldwide. Statistics show that 130 heart attacks, that about 130 heart attacks and 240 strokes occur daily in South Africa, and this means that 10 people will suffer a stroke and 5 people will have a heart attack every hour. Fortunately, high blood pressure can be detected, and once you know you have high blood pressure, you can work with your doctor to control it. Please do not forget to go and make sure that you get your blood pressure tested.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
It would be a shame if I did not talk about the really, really crazy hashtag that's been going around on my Facebook page, on my Twitter page, on my Instagram, the hashtag Men Are Trash, and it's come full circle now, as we've been seeing a lot of cases of women going through some really, really dreadful things. Sexual abuse, kidnapping, being killed, being tortured. Those are the kinds of things you don't want to see on the news, you don't want to hear about, you don't want to really believe are happening. But that's exactly what's going on right now in our country, and it's very important that as a social show, if that's what we do in terms of trying to make sure that people have the right information as to where they can go and how they can go about it, that we speak about it on the show. I really didn't want to speak about it prematurely. I wanted it to be a really big conversation, and perhaps next week we will have the relevant people who can really make sure that more change is done in terms of policy. I always speak about policy in terms of policing, in terms of just the dialogues that need to happen with our men, with the men that are hurting us in our society, the ideas that the crime, the poverty, and what would really cause somebody to do such horrific things to women, it's just crazy. I actually have no words, and it's an ongoing phenomenon. It's been happening for years and years and years. Some women have gone under the radar and have not even been spoken about, and I'm very excited that now we're starting to really blow the whistle and say, wait, hold on. Something really wrong is happening right now. Something really horrible is happening in our society, in South Africa specifically. I think it's in everywhere, but I think South Africa, it's been happening so many times that we just could not keep our mouths quiet anymore. And this is this beautiful, I think it's the youth of today. We've got such a robust voice, a voice that's really trying to break barriers, a voice that is really uncensored because of these, not only because of these social mediums, but because we all have experienced it in some way or form, some sort of sexual abuse, some sort of violence towards our body, some sort of entitlement that people feel like they have when they approach us. By us, I mean women, when they deal with women in general. I mean, if you think of Oscar Pistorius' trial now that just happened a few years ago, if you think about Karabo, or rest in peace Karabo's situation right now, it's happening in the news, where she was found burned and killed in a dustbin by her boyfriend. There's just so many issues happening, and also the unsung deaths of all the women who have died at the hands of a man hitting them, at the hands of a man burning or hurting them. And we just don't have those stories. We all don't have those stories, but it's been really crazy. But what has intrigued me, actually not even intrigued me in a good way, in a really, really disturbing way, was this Wits student who was crossing the Mandela Bridge into Braam and was abducted. A Wits student was allegedly abducted from the Nelson Mandela Bridge in Braamfontein and later managed to escape in Garankuwa, north of Pretoria, in the late hours of Monday the 15th. Her name is Lehlonolo Mlapo, as she was walking along the bridge when 3 men in a Golf GTI pulled up in front of her, threw her into the car before driving off. And this is according to her close friend Melody Mia. I'm finding this in the Vuvuzela, which is the Wits Vuvuzela publication of the Wits Waterstrand University. Now, Mia became alarmed when the 22-year-old student texted him to say that she was being followed by a GTI Ono residence in Braamfontein. And she says that when she received the texts, she said, okay, let me wait for her and hear what's going on. But I think the SMSs then stopped going when she saw. I think he was alarmed when he just saw the word help. And when he tried to call the phone, it was no longer available. Mia said that at 9 p.m. he contacted the Crime Air Network Initiative, a Twitter account that helping people with stolen cars. And Mia said that when he called Mlapo again, she picked up but did not speak. It was a case whereby she could not speak, and it was like she wanted me to hear what was around her. Said Mia. And he said that after a few minutes, the phone was switched off. However, the Crime Air Network managed to track the phone's location to Garankuwa. Mlapo had managed to escape by her abductors by opening an unlocked door in the GTI at a stop street. She did not know that the doors were unlocked. She took a chance, he said. And Mlapo ended up at a random house in Garankuwa where Mia found her. She was then taken to George Mukani Hospital and released earlier today, or yesterday, I think, with minor injuries, according to Mia. And the police in Pretoria told them they couldn't open a case in the area because the abduction happened in Braamfontein. Now, this is crazy for me because I've been hearing so many of these kidnapping stories. And at first, I really thought it was people just going crazy because obviously after the Karabo thing and after what's been going on with women here, we've been seeing a lot more of these news not only on our Twitter pages and our Instagram pages, but we've also been getting these. I've been getting a lot of these messages on my phone that say men are kidnapping, be careful, walk safely, don't walk alone, and that kind of thing. But I mean, sometimes you think, oh, it's just a thread. People are just trying to go viral. People are just trying to go and I don't know, like just sort of get their message across and regurgitate old news. And that's what happens sometimes when it comes to social media. You can't really be too sure about the source. And that's the kind of person I am. I always think about what's the source and how can we really get involved with that. Is it true? How true is it? I mean, there's ransom money and that kind of stuff. But when I heard this story, I really knew that something wrong is happening. And we really need to start speaking about how we can make our women feel more safe in our streets. What do you do? Because you have to walk to your taxi. You have to walk to home. There's no other option that you have. What is the solution? What can the government do? What can our NGOs do to protect women who are just literally living their lives and are at risk of being abducted and taken away? You don't know where you're going to be going. You don't know what's going to be done with you. You don't know if they want to kill you or rape you or sell you. There's so many different things that could occur. And I think it's time now we start actually having an action solution based response to these kinds of these kinds of perpetrators, these kinds of issues, because what can be done? One minute you're scared somebody's going to steal your phone, but now you're scared somebody's going to steal you as a human being, as a woman. How do we respond? I'm actually really terrified. But I'm just going to speak to you a little bit about a few organizations that are trying to really alleviate the number of people who are affected by sexual abuse. They want to transform the education around rape and sexual abuse. And I think a lot of that needs to happen. The dialogue around sexual abuse and rape needs to start changing. You cannot stay if somebody's hitting you. You cannot, we need to speak about it differently. We need to train our mothers, our grandmothers. We need to speak to them and say, you know what, if your child comes to you and says, I am being beaten up by my boyfriend, there is a step forward as to how we can get him locked away and how we can deal with them in a way that is going to rehabilitate them, because we don't want a million men in prison. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to take all the men to prison, but we do want to make sure that those who are inflicting pain and have problems are dealt with and are held accountable. I know Soul City is also working on a really amazing campaign, which is to curb sexual abuse and sexual sort of molestation in public spaces like transport as well. very beautiful campaign, and what they're doing is that they're putting these men accountable. They're putting their names on their website, their faces on their website, and they're saying these are the men who have been found guilty of harassing women. Know them, understand them. And I think that's one way of really getting people to kind of stop, because if your name is on that list, it's almost like a wanted list where you really know that if you have wanted posters all over, you can't really go anywhere because you are wanted by the police. So it's the same kind of concept as to say we're holding you accountable, and we're saying that we can see you, and we are going to hold, and we are going to make sure that something happens to you lawfully. And it's very important that governments, that all like a lot of corporates get involved, because these are your employees, these are your daughters, it affects every single person. There's nobody who isn't affected by this kind of abuse. There's nobody who is immune to it. It can happen anywhere. We have seen the testimony in South Africa. It can happen from your boyfriend to a stranger, to your boss, to your teacher. I mean, how many times has the whistle been blown at Wits of lecturers who are using who are basically abusing the girls because they want to make sure that they get specific marks, and they're using sexual advances that are unwanted on students. And that to me scares me. How many times have you heard your friends tell you about the way their boss looks at them, or the way that they are around them? It's an entire dialogue, it's an entire language, it's an entire discourse change, and it's very imperative that we start expecting better from our male counterparts. We start expecting better from our bosses, from the people that are supposed to really hold us high. How many times are we going to hear about pastors who are, sexually molesting girls in their churches? I mean, it is the biggest issue in entire. I don't even know how we can actually get to the grub of it, because it is affecting every single sphere. It has affected every single sphere. So there's so many different ways in which we can fight it. If you are part of any congregation, if you are part of any organization, if you are part of any NGO, I think there's always a chance or an opportunity for you to open up those dialogues, to open up a section or a sector in your organization, in your NGO, in your work environment, to say, if this occurs, if there's any kind of sexual abuse, how do we deal with it, and what is the best way to deal with it, and how do we make sure that if we are victims, we can come forward with our voices, and we can say, my boss is doing this to me, and not feel like you're going to lose your job. Or you can say, my teacher's doing this to me, and not feel like you're going to lose your job. You can say, you can talk, you can speak. You at an organization that's supposed to be helping you get better. You're at an NGO that's supposed to be helping you get through your own sexual abuse stories that have happened in your life at home, and you get there and the exact same thing happens to you. What needs to change? What do we need to say, speak about differently? What do? We can't just completely cut out all men from the equation, because not all men are in it, but we know that a majority of them are going undetected. And I think that's the biggest issue, actually. I think the biggest issue is the unaccountability. There's no accountability. There's no detection. A lot of them go without being reported. And also, kidnappings are the same as losing your phone or your bag. Chances are you probably never see it again. It's gone. And how do you then hold people who know that they can never be really seen again? They can never be really be engaged again because they're gone. It's almost like this phantom of the night that comes, and there is no real faces to these people. It's almost like these men are just faceless. So I think it's very important that we start. I really like the Soul City Institute of Social Justice approach, which is to hold them accountable, put them up on the site, put their names up, make sure that that list is something that goes viral, make sure that everybody knows who, and if somebody introduces themselves anywhere and you know that name, you can say, wait a minute, I've seen your face somewhere, and I think you are dangerous. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. I think that's one way of doing it, making sure that we shine a light on those who are perpetrators. But there are many NGOs who are as I said before, transforming education about rape and sexual abuse. The first is I'm going to speak about Tears. Now, Tears Foundation was founded in 2012 and is a registered NPO and PBO that uses technology innovatively in the scourge against domestic violence, which is kind of great because I love the fact that in the last story, they were able to track down a phone to find the girl. I feel like technology is such a great way of also trying to curb this kidnapping and trying to just locate people who are away for long periods of time. Also, in terms of finding out who had murdered anybody, you can find them through sort of phone records and that kind of thing. And I think technology is in a good space to become sort of this detector. And it's very important that you always have your cell phone on you, or you have two cell phones, or you have one that's hidden, one that isn't. I think that's also one way of really curbing the issue, is that you have some sort of way of being detected, whether it be on a watch. I know these new watches or the phones, whatever the case may be. We need to see how we can use those issues to not those issues, but those technologies to help women get found, to get women get help, and I think there's a lot of that going on right now. But the Tears Foundation is responsible for sourcing and collating of a database comprised of fully comprehensive network of services, which is medical, legal, psychological, and currently available throughout South Africa for assistance of rape survivors of obviously and sexual abuse. Now, this database is accessible to all South Africans and free of charge through a web and Mobi site by using the USSD mobile interface in conjunction with location finding software. Any South African with a cell phone will be able to receive an instant referral to the nearest available help facility via SMS. So what I like is that they make sure that if you are in trouble, if you are going through something, you're able to be detectable, again, as I said. And also, you don't have to tell anyone that you know, or someone that you sometimes the issue is telling somebody that somebody is hurting you, someone that it becomes a little bit difficult. So what I love about them is that the anonymity of it all is that you can just find a Tears Foundation or a foundation close to you that can really help you get through whatever it is that you're going through. So yeah, that's Tears for you. If you want to find out a little bit more, you can go to www.tears.co.za and you can find out how to get the USSD service data, the Unstructured Supplementary Service Data mobile interface, and you can see how you can use it for your own good, for your own safety. We don't even know if I actually am really, really dumbfounded as to how we're going to deal with this as a nation, as the world in its entirety. It happens almost every single day, and it's becoming something that's really, 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 really just we can't stand for it, I know also there's 16 days of activism that happens every year by the Department of Women, which is also a great initiative. But what I love about them is that they really do educate both women and men as to why this can't be tolerated, because I think sometimes we're so focused on what responsibility women have, like, to be safe, the responsibility to walk, to think, to dress appropriately, those kinds of things. Those are the kinds of things we think of as women. Actually, when I think about it, I've had so many conversations with my peers as to what I think about when I'm dressing. I don't even think about anymore about what I look like or how I want to look like on that day. I just think of what is the most appropriate way of dressing so I don't attract any kind of attention that is not unwanted attention. There's so many ways that we're policing ourselves as women. We're not living our best lives because of that. And I think it's very important that we start really looking at how we can speak to both men and women as to changing the discourse and the language and the way in which we understand women, and the way in which we and here's the issue, right? Is that I don't necessarily think it's an education thing. I think it's definitely a thing of saying there's a lot of people who have gone away with it, who've gone untouched, uneven like noticed with it. I mean, how many people have molested little children and still live on and act like nothing's ever happened? And that mentality is something that spreads, and it spreads as to it's okay to do this because it nothing happens to you. Nothing will. So accountability is at the foot end of it all. I think it's very important that we make sure that whoever's doing the worst to women is held accountable. Another foundation that I found now is Teddy Bear Foundation. And Teddy Bear Foundation's vision is that children should not be abused. So it's about children. But where they are being abused, they want to provide efficient professional services that effectively promote their healing to stop any further abuse. This translates into a mission to minimize any secondary harm to children and their families upon entering the child protection system. Now, their services are that there are victim support services. They have victim support services. The first is a medico-legal examinations. Now, the Teddy Bear Foundation's medico-legal clinic is a specialized medical facility for children who have been abused or neglected, and a training service for medical professionals working in the child protection field. It is based within Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital, and it is run by a multidisciplinary team of pediatricians, doctors, forensic nurses, social workers, and volunteers. Also, they have a Shaken and Abused Baby initiative where their primary objective is to prevent shaken baby syndrome from occurring. However, once it has, the objective is to identify abuse immediately in order to protect child and mitigate against further abuse. So abuse to me is one big umbrella. It isn't necessarily just sexual. It's more than that. It's the beatings. It's the sexual violence. It's the violence against children. It's the violence against people who aren't able to fend for themselves. It's unwarranted. Whether you saying it's verbal. It's a bigger issue. And this concept of abuse stems from anger. It stems from some sort of issue that has not been dealt with within oneself. And I think that's why I'm saying that it's so difficult, because it's such an individual experience as to why people inflict pain on other people. It's an individual issue. But it's an issue that is affecting women collectively. So when we look for solutions, we need to look for solutions that are not only going to be specific to specific cases as to why these certain things are occurring, but also it needs to be specific as to how a woman will deal with them and how women will feel protected and how women can use their rights and their voices to make sure it doesn't happen again. I really hope you are safe wherever you are. You walk safe, you drive safe, you don't stop anywhere, don't stop at a red light, even if it's dark, even if it especially if it's dark, at nighttime, if you're a woman. We used to basically, when my mom was a bit younger, I still remember she used to wear a cap and hide her hair when we used to drive for long periods, because we just didn't know what would happen. So she would try and look like a guy. And that's so sad. And that's so sad that we live in a society like that. But that's the truth. That's the point of it all. And I really hope that if any of you have experienced anything, you can reach out to us at www.social-tv.co.za, and we will definitely link you up with the necessary NGOs. We have a database of NGOs that we know, that we have relationships with, that can help you with every single issue. So if you have an issue, please don't worry. Email me at press@social-tv.co.za or call us. You can find our number on www, as I said, social-tv.co.za, or you can go to Viewer for Real, which is my Twitter page, and you can DM me, you can text me. I will do my best to make sure that you get help. And this is to every single person experiencing any kind of abuse, whether it be an LGBTI member, a child, a woman, anybody, even if you're a man and you're experiencing some sort of abuse. We need to start speaking out, and we need to start finding solutions so that we can help more people, so that we can hold more people accountable, and so that we can reduce the number of people who are dying every single year at the hands of another. It's scary. It's scary, and we don't deserve that. We don't deserve that. A country that has been through so much already. But anyway, thank you so much for listening in. My name is Vuyokolwana, and you were listening to The Social Show. I will be back again tomorrow morning, same time, same place.
Live from 27 Boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.